What is up, you guys? Welcome back to my channel. My name is Shauna and I am a recovering addict. I have been sober since September 27th of 2016, and today I'm sure I am the last person on earth to be reviewing this, but you guys did request it, so I am reviewing the Anastasia Beverly Hills and Jackie Aina palette. I have played with it once before, so I do have some thoughts on it. I will post that video after this one, mainly because I have some things that I really need to say about this palette and just a situation that I feel needs to be addressed. Alright, so as you guys know, I usually start with my eyes first. I do have my brows on, but I have not primed my lids yet, so let's go ahead and do that. And to do that, I'm going to prime with the ColourPop No Filter Concealer in the shade Fair 02. And what I like to do is just dot some on. And then I actually take a dry beauty sponge, mainly because I'm lazy. I don't think it does anything to wet it if I'm just using it for this, because we know how I feel about beauty sponges. So, and then I just buff it in. And while that is drying down, I will go ahead and get some swatches for you. I'm not going to use any primer or anything. We'll just swatch live, even though I'm sure y'all have seen this a million times, because I mean, this has been out for almost a month. But anyway, I'll just go across each row and then put them on my arm. So the first shade we have is Soleil, which is, it looks very champagne in the pan, but it comes off kind of champagne-y rose gold. And then we have Supreme, a beautiful rose pink matte. And then we have Pinker, which I would call a deep mauve shade, almost bordering on berry. And that is also matte, but there is some like reflex in it. Yeah. Next we have Big Wig, which is a beautiful purple. And then we have my favorite one to say, which is Dollars, because I cannot say that without thinking of Jackie. And that looks very green in the pan, but on me is coming off as like a little bit of green, but mainly just a gold. We have Credit, which is a beautiful deep matte brown. And then we have Lituation, which in the pan looks like a steely purplish brown, and on me comes off as just a shimmery taupey brown, like not taupe, but like a muted brown color. It's really pretty. Next we have Zam, which is like an coppery rose gold. And then Wigglies, which is probably my favorite actual shade in the whole palette. It's a beautiful red shimmer. Then we have Shookington. Ooh, got a little much there. Beautiful purple shimmer. Next we have Trust Issues, which I love because it looks white in the pan with gold reflex, but it's actually like a green duochrome with gold. And then we have Edges, which is a very warm brown color. And then Sponsored, which I love because as you can see it's brown, but then has a green shift to it. And then it looks just green in the pan. And then the final shade is Ginger, which is another warm brown shade. So I did hear some criticisms online about people being like, oh, it looks like every other ABH palette. Well, I have every ABH palette since Modern Renaissance, and I'm here to tell you that it doesn't, because with the exception of Norvina, there is no ABH palette that has purple in it, and even the ones in the Norvina palette are very dusty. I am going to go into the shade Supreme, and I'm going to use that as my transition shade, and I am going to buff it in to the crease and then go a little bit blown out. Make sure my concealer hasn't creased. Looks good. Now, as many of you know, Jackie did do this palette in with darker skin tones in mind, so because I am very fair, I'm just going to go in with a little bit lighter of a hand, since the Supreme shade is, like, all the shades are so pigmented, so as a transition shade I just have to go in a little bit lighter. And you'll be able to see when I put it on. I barely tapped the pan just to make sure that it would go on as more of a transition on me. When Jackie announced this palette, I was all over it. I fucking love Jackie Aina. She's so funny. I've learned a lot from her. My concealer routine, I actually learned from her. I love how she speaks out on issues about colorism and race, especially in the beauty industry, but just in general. I love her videos where she talks about, like, there's one video she just had where she's like, leave people alone if they don't want to have kids, if they don't want to get married, and I'm like, yes, thank you. I just love her energy. I guess she's a little bit much for some people, but I grew up with a Leo, so I'm very used to Leos. Leos are some of my favorite people. And I'm a Sagittarius, so I think that's why, because us fire signs gotta stick together. So yeah, I'm very happy for her. Next, I'm gonna go in with the shade Pinker. And that picks up very nice on the brush. In typical Anastasia form, you don't have to, like, dunk in, just a nice little tap and you'll have, like, full-on pigmentation. And this I'm just gonna pop into the crease. Another complaint I saw online was people saying, oh, it's not for me because I'm fair, or I'm too light, and Jackie makes everything about race, to which I just have to say, shut the fuck up, because it must be rough to be able to just walk into any store and find shit for you. So yeah, I'm not normally this angry if you've watched my other videos. This whole situation around this palette has just, it's driven me nuts, and I still have more to go. But you also caught me about a week before my period, so I'm massively PMSy. And, but I felt this way, you know, ever since it's been released. Picking up my Morphe M507 and blending that out into Supreme. And then I'm kind of trying to blow it out into like a wing. Another complaint I saw was that the palette was just all purples and greens, and I'm like, where? There's 2 true purple shades and like 3 shimmers that happen to have a shift of green. Like, if you guys watch Jackie's channel, this palette is just what she wears every day. Like, she loves pink, she loves purple, she loves neutrals. Like, so if anything, she just made this palette completely representative of her. And I am also a sucker for purple eyeshadow and pink eyeshadow, and on me it just turns into a really smoky look that I'm super fucking into, man. Alright, I'm just gonna go back in with that light pink shade Supreme just to clean up the edges a bit, and as you can see, I just barely tapped it on there. To deepen up the crease just a teeny tiny bit, I am going to go back in with that M507 brush, and I'm going to take the shade Credit. I saw a video of hers where she said she chose a matte brown to deepen up instead of black because black like threw everything off in the palette, which I can totally see. And some people find black eyeshadow very, very intimidating. And I'm just blending that into my crease. Yep, just to deepen it up a bit. My biggest issue with this launch in general is not the actual launch itself. Disclaimer, I own a lot of ABH products. I love ABH. I know that the formulation is consistent. I have their foundation stick. I have their new foundation. I have highlighters galore. I have 2 highlighter palettes. You get what I'm saying. I love ABH. I follow Norvina. I love her. I love how she interacts with people. And I don't even know if I have the right to be. I'm very, very disappointed in the fact that this palette, Jackie Aina's palette, literally got 3 weeks of launch time. What do I mean by that? The Norvina Volume 1 palette dropped pretty much 3 weeks to the day. And Trendmood had 5 photos of this palette, one of which was the one in black and white where Jackie Aina posted, "Something's coming." So we didn't even know that's what it was. And one of which was swatches. So the other 3 are actual pictures of the product. The Norvina Volume 1 is on their page 6 times. None of them swatches and none of them in black and white. I'm not blaming Trendmood. She, she gets the shit as it comes in, Norvina went on her stories and said that she was actually going to release the Norvina Volume 1 in spring. Then why didn't it happen? So Riviera came out in March. Alyssa Edwards came out May 6th. And then the foundation, the liner, the powders, and this palette came out August 4th to August 6th. Why so much time between that and you couldn't fucking wait for you to drop this other palette? Like, if it was supposed to be in spring, why didn't you drop it in spring? It just bugs me. Like, hold it, release it for Christmas. I don't know. It bugs me. And when I first saw the palette, before she told us it was supposed to be for the spring campaign, so she's been holding it a while, when she opened it up and it just had like A1, A2, I'm like, oh, this is just like a prototype. This isn't real because there's no shade names. But no. And so now people who got their PR for Norvina Volume 1 have like already chucked aside the Jackie Aina palette. And I know when you get PR, that's your job. You have to use the new shit. I get it. And I'm not even saying anything about, tokenization or whatever. It's how it feels. It's how it comes off to me. But I'm not saying that's what it is. But it looks a little bad. So yeah, I'm annoyed by that. I don't know. And then, but anyway, I'm not gonna let it. I had to get that off my chest. It's been bugging me since the shit happened. Maybe it wasn't released until August 6th because that's Jackie's birthday and she wanted it for that. Maybe she knew. Norvina was like, yo, that's cool. We'll wait to drop your shit, but I'm dropping this 3 weeks later. I don't know what went on behind the scenes. Jackie probably can't say anything, and because she's not alluding to anything, so I'm sure she can't say anything anyway. But I do wonder how she feels about that. It really does bother me, but maybe I don't even have a reason to be bothered. Maybe it was discussed, but it just looks bad. I still like ABH. Nobody's canceled. I don't believe in cancel culture because I think people deserve the opportunity to learn and grow. Like, I've learned and grown so much. I had the opportunity to be the shittiest of human beings in my active addiction and go through recovery and make my amends and be like a productive member of society who's, you know, healthy and happy and not being destructive and causing problems. So people deserve that opportunity. I'm just saying it looks bad. So I'm not canceling anyone. It just looks bad. Y'all, I really had to get that off. And then there's a whole other situation with Jackie, and that's all I'm gonna say on it. Check my Twitter. You'll know exactly how I feel about what's been going on recently in regards to her leaving Twitter. It's on my Twitter page if you really care to know. But anyway, back to the eye look. I'm going to take the shade Ginger and just put that up top there just to kind of clean up even more because it's looking a little too pink. So just to give it a little bit of dimension. Warm it up a bit, I guess, is a better way of saying it. Okay, now I'm going to cut my crease, and again going to use the ColourPop in shade Fair 02. I'm just going to do a half cut crease. Alright, now that the concealer is dry, I am going to go into the shade Sponsored is really calling my name. So we're going to do that. I'm going to take this packing brush. I am going to dip into Sponsored. And wet it. And just pack that on. Ooh. That's cool. It looks very floral. I don't know. Like the pink and the green, but like there's that cool shift in there too. There is a little bit of fallout when you put it on, but that's very typical of an Anastasia shadow, so I'm not surprised. Plus I did end up kind of rubbing because I have very wrinkly lids. So to really get it in there, sometimes I have to rub the product on, and that causes that to happen. Alright, then I'm going to just kind of not really blend them together, but kind of like stamp everything together. So I'm going to go back and forth between Pinker and Credit and just kind of stamp on that outer V there. And then take my Morphe M507 and blend into the crease and then a little bit into the shimmer shade. Alright, I'm not liking how that outer V looks, so I'm going to take my Morphe M562 and just kind of try to blend it in some more together. This is what happens when I do makeup irritated. Doesn't look good. I will say this, when I did the first impressions before, my makeup looked fucking amazing then. My whole family complimented me, and usually they're dragging me to filth. And in true Jackie Aina form, it would not be a Jackie Aina video without Farsali Skin Tune Blur. I actually picked up this sample, Sephora sent it to me. They were one of their things that you could purchase if you spent, or not purchase, but they gave you if you spent over $25, whatever it was, a whole foundation sampler pack. And I didn't know they were sending in primers and stuff too, but they did. So I got a Smashbox sample, and then I got like 3 Farsali samples, and Skin Tune Blur being one of them. holy crap, that actually filled in my wrinkles like the Tatcha Silk Canvas does. If anyone wants to send me a gift card to Sephora so that I can pick this up, I would really appreciate it. You can DM me on my Instagram account and I'll send you my PayPal. God, it makes your skin feel good too. Like, the stickiness actually kind of goes away and my skin feels like a baby's. Okay, so really like that. I am going to go into my Clinique Stay Matte Foundation in the shade Linen. This is like my perfect summer shade. I used a little too, not enough, but we'll see. Okay, I need a little bit more. For a little sheer. Not that it matters, I'm filming at about 10 o'clock right now. PM, not AM. I was just thinking to myself, oh, I feel so bad for using that Skin Tune blur because it works so well. I should have saved it for a nice occasion, but my son goes to proper school now, not just daycare. So my days of doing makeup before work are over because I don't love anyone enough to wake up that early to put makeup on, and I don't need to impress work enough for that. For concealer, I'm going to go in with the ColourPop concealer in the shade Fair 06. Just to cancel out the blue, because it has a peachy pink undertone to it. And I'll let that dry a little bit. And for the rest of my face, I'm going to use the Fenty in the shade 100. It's a little too light for me, but I'm just going to do a little dot, itty bitty line, another little dot, and then these tiny little guys here for a little reverse contour. I've been into like more minimal concealing lately because I'm getting old. So it like doesn't work well for me to like really cake it on because I do just look cakey. I just use that tiny little bit of peachy color to cancel out the blue whenever I forget to use my LA Girl color corrector. And then I go over the top of it with the brightening concealer. And that I learned from Miss Jackie. Although probably, like, she really does a badass concealer routine that I'm just like, girl, I don't have the time for that. Even when I'm just playing around at night. Like, I gotta get to bed at a certain time. She spends so much time, well, it probably doesn't feel like it to her, but she spends so much time on her concealer and she always looks so good. For contour, I'm going to go in with the Benefit Hoola. I actually don't mind this if I'm going for a warmer look, which we're kind of doing today. But in general, for like most of my everyday looks, I do prefer the Too Faced Milk Chocolate because it's cooler toned. I apologize for my hair. Not that you guys ever see me with like fabulous hair, because I'm generally filming at night, end of the day, so I usually couldn't give a shit. But today it's extra garbage because I went swimming with my son. He really excelled in swimming, but we have to keep up with it. So I have to get in with him. You know, don't want the kid to drown. I feel like this look definitely needs some blush. So I'm going to go in with the Milani in the shade Tea Rose. I'm going to take my Wet n Wild bronzer in Ticket to Brazil just to warm things up a bit and brighten up the face. And the little bit of shimmer that's in this actually does add a lot for me. For highlight, I am going to go with the Anastasia Beverly Hills Amrezy highlighter. And even when you like put a crap ton of product on the brush like I just did, it just leaves like a nice glow. Alright guys, now that I have finished up the face, let's go ahead and finish up the eyes. To go into my inner corner highlight, I'm going to go in with Soleil. No, actually, I'm going to do Trust Issues because it does have that green shift on me. So I'll go in with Trust Issues. Alright, I am going to go back in and wet the brush. It's very shiny, but I want that greenish color to pick up a bit, and it's not doing that. So I'm going to see if wetting the brush will help. Yep, that's better. For my brow bone highlight, that I am going to go into Soleil with. Just because up there is a little bit warmer. We're not next to that green color anymore. I'm going to take this Bodyography pencil in Emerald. And I'm going to pop that in my waterline. And I'm going to take my Morphe M431 and I'm going to dip into Credit just lightly. And I'm going to brush that into the green. You can kind of see it kind of did that on its own a little bit, but and just lightly go in there. And then I'm going to take my Morphe M507 and go into Pinker and just go right underneath and blend those two together and then connect it to the rest of the eye. Okay, I'm going to go in with the Ofra Long Lasting Liquid Lipstick in the shade Monaco. That's what I did the last time I wore this. I don't know, this lipstick is so good. It's not too metallic and it's hydrating. It's long lasting, it's long wearing. It does take a bit to dry down though. Oh, it feels like velvet. And smells like coconut vanilla. This is the final look, guys. My final thoughts. I love this palette. It is an Anastasia Beverly Hills palette. I was going to like it regardless. Like I said, I have every single palette of theirs since Modern Renaissance. None of them are a dud for me. Even the Subculture palette I got long after it first launched. So they had reformulated at that point and repressed. I love this palette. I love the colors. It works for fair skin. Just go in with a lighter hand, and you know what that means? You're gonna get a lot more use out of it because you're not gonna use as much product. This is for everyone, so I don't want to hear that complaint ever again. Whether you like Jackie or not, you have to admit that a woman of color, a black woman especially, being able to collaborate with such a huge brand is such a big step. Even though we're in 2019, it doesn't happen often. So congratulations, Jackie. This is amazing. She's not gonna see this. The fuck. Thank you guys for listening to me vent. I really had to get that off my chest. It's been bugging me since that launch happened, which it just happened, but since it was even mentioned. Anyway, not that Jackie's gonna see this. Congratulations to Jackie. I'll keep watching your channel because you crack me up every time. You guys, if you haven't watched Jackie's channel, you need to. I laugh every time. I learn something every time. She is just a gem in this community. My coworkers have stared at me multiple times because I've laughed out loud. So, final thoughts on the palette. It is beautiful. It's stunning. It works just like it's supposed to. It's an Anastasia Beverly Hills palette. You're getting that quality. Top notch. For watching today's video, guys, as always, if you could like and subscribe and hit that bell notification so you can be notified every time I upload a new video, I would greatly appreciate it. Please do follow me on Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter at Recovered Feminist. I love you, and I will see you in the next one. Bye!